The bright sun hung high in the sky, casting a warm glow on the rural road where Harold stood, laughter bubbling from his throat. The light beige of his collared shirt contrasted well against the vibrant greenery that framed the highway, and his gray hair was slicked back, making him look both distinguished and approachable. As he looked to the right, his eyes sparkled behind dark sunglasses, capturing the energy of the moment. Just a few yards behind him, a thrumming line of motorcyclists sped down the highway, their bikes roaring like wild beasts unleashed onto the land. Each rider wore a mix of leather and denim, arms raised in triumph as they carved their way through the picturesque landscape. They were en route to the annual All-American Motorcycle Rally, an event that had become something of a legend among biking enthusiasts. Friends, laughter, and a shared love for the open road drew them all together, each with dreams of adventure and tales to tell. Harold was not a biker himself. Instead, he was a travel writer, documenting stories from the road. His enthusiasm was palpable. He was always in search of the next great adventure, the next fascinating tale to capture in his articles. The idea of meeting like-minded souls at the rally charmed him, and it was this year that he decided it was finally time to attend. As the last motorcycle scooted past him, Harold grabbed his camera and shifted his focus back to the road ahead. He had a knack for storytelling, often turning everyday moments into gripping narratives filled with charm. With the sun beaming down on the asphalt, he took a deep breath, feeling the thrill of the adventure brewing within him. Suddenly, the commotion of laughter and roaring engines faded as his attention turned to a peculiar sign poking out from the grass at the edge of the road. It was handmade, and the letters were hastily scrawled in bright blue paint. "Danger ahead," it exclaimed with a drawn-out arrow pointing toward the winding path he planned to follow. A chill ran down Harold's spine. Could this be some sort of prank? Harold pondered, instinctively feeling his rider's curiosity tingling at the edge of his mind. He decided that such a warning deserved investigation. The wayward sign offered a hint of danger, perhaps a tale to be told, a story that could take any turn. With his heart racing and the thrill of unpredictability calling to him, Harold took a few steps closer to peer down the road. It twisted and turned, veiled in the shadow of towering trees that swayed gently in the light breeze. The sun painted a golden path, but the sign loomed over him, a reminder that not all was as sunny as it appeared. Before he realized it, he was adjusting his camera again, drawn to capture the moment. Just as he pressed the shutter, a loud screech filled the air, followed by the unmistakable sound of metal against asphalt. Heart pounding, Harold spun around to witness a motorcycle skidding wildly off the road, the rider struggling to regain control. The world came to a halt as shock and instincts collided within him. Would he run to help or stay back, the journalist alive with curiosity? In that split second, everything transformed. He was no longer just an observer. The road had finally taken a turn, and Harold felt the weight of the moment upon him. The adrenaline surged, memories of missed moments flooding back. Would this journey lead to danger or discovery? As the blurred figure on the bike fought against the allured embrace of chaos, Harold took a deep breath, his adventure growing more complex by the second. The choice before him was more than just a decision. It was a prelude to a story he never anticipated. Little did he know, this trip would be far more than an escape into the vibrant world of motorcycling. It would become a tale woven with suspense, laughter, and twists, challenging Harold in ways he never imagined. With his heart racing and determination ignited, he made a move that would change everything. Whatever lay ahead was far more complicated than he ever imagined. The figure stepped closer, their silhouette slicing sharply against the vibrant backdrop of green and sunlit sky. Harold's instincts flared as he assessed the scene. The stranger radiated an unsettling energy, confidence dripping from every sassy remark, as if they had orchestrated an elaborate play and were awaiting an audience to marvel at the unfolding drama. "Who are you?" Jake demanded, standing a little taller as if proximity to Harold had bolstered his courage. But the tremor in his voice betrayed him, a quaking reminder of the aftermath of his unexpected tumble. The figure laughed softly, a sound that echoingly rang through the otherwise quiet afternoon. Just a friend passing through. But it seems I've caught you in quite the turn of events, haven't I? The playful condescension lingered, matched with a hint of mischief in their dark, shining eyes. I don't recall making any friends who set traps on the side of the road, Harold replied, the words spilling out with defensiveness. He took a cautious step forward, instincts telling him to confront the unknown. Oh, it's not a trap, my friend. Just an opportunity, the stranger said, casually leaning against the sign, the rough wood creaking slightly under their weight. The danger sign was meant to invite curiosity, and look, here you are, fully intrigued and breathless. Both men exchanged wary glances. What do you mean, opportunity? Jake pressed, pushing pain aside to stand more firmly. The stranger's grin widened. I'm Nathan, scout and storyteller of sorts. I've been curating a little event. Thought I'd draw the right kind of folks in, and who better than a couple of riders looking for adventure? What kind of event? Harold asked, too intrigued to decline. The spirit of storytelling was ignited deep within him, urging him forward. Nathan cocked his head, clearly enjoying the unfolding drama. A competition of sorts. A few tasks scattered throughout this very road, each revealing secrets of the stretches you ride. Complete the challenges and a prize awaits. Jake's eyes sparkled with a mix of excitement and doubt. Why not just invite us directly? With adventures, my friend, the allure lies in the unexplored, the attraction of the unknown. Each dare reveals a bit more, and what better way to weave stories? Nathan beckoned them with a flourish of his hands, creating an atmospheric tapestry filled with thrills. Dare to join? An electric jolt of temptation surged through Harold. This could be the story he'd been longing to tell. He could imagine the readers leaning in closer, perhaps feeling the thrill through his words. He also thought of Jake, who still seemed rattled from his earlier spill, uncertain if he wanted to push forward. Count me in, Harold said, a resolve settling within him, every part of him craving this unexpected adventure. But what's the catch? Nathan's eyes glinted knowingly. Life is one big catch, my friend. Just keep your wits about you. You might discover more than just tales waiting to be told. He then pointed down the road. Your first task lies just ahead. There's a dilapidated barn. A legend recounts it holds the key to a local treasure. Find what is lost in the past, and perhaps a new truth will emerge. Visions of hidden gems and forgotten histories flood Harold's mind, the wheels of creativity spinning fervently. Let's go, Jake. What do you say? Still hesitant, Jake breathed heavily. A barn? Sounds like an old horror flick waiting to happen. Oh, but think of the stories. Harold encouraged, the excitement bubbling in him. Besides, we'll do it together. I've got your back. With renewed determination coursing through him, Jake nodded. All right, but if there are any ghosts, I'm blaming you. The bond of camaraderie ignited, and with that, they set off toward their first challenge, the path ahead twisting invitingly. As they walked, the atmosphere changed. The shadows of the trees grew longer, whispers among the leaves swirling around them. Unbeknownst to either man, Nathan's gaze lingered behind as they moved on, a knowing smile curling at his lips. Secrets were not just reserved for the barn but were nestled in the hearts of those who dared wander the road less traveled. The barn came into view, its weather-beaten signs of age standing proud against the backdrop of the sunset. Surrounded by wildflowers and a choking thicket, it radiated an eerie charm. Harold couldn't shake the feeling that this was not simply a barn but a cradle for stories long buried. Ready? Harold asked, glancing at Jake, who was scanning the darkened entrance, the sun sailing low in the sky. Not a fan of the dark, but here goes, Jake replied, his bravado wavering yet tinged with exhilaration. With a shared look of determination, they stepped inside, the creaking floorboards announcing their arrival as the door swung shut behind them. A heavy, charged silence enveloped them, and the air felt thick with secrets long forgotten. Every creak and rustle echoed ominously. The musty smell of aged wood and memories clung to the air like shadows waiting to unfold. Just as they ventured further, Harold noticed an old trunk nestled against the wall, cloaked in dust and hidden beneath spider webs. "Look at that," he exclaimed, curiosity overriding his caution. "What do you think is inside?" Jake hesitated, glancing back towards the entrance. "Should we open it? What if it's something dangerous? Or something amazing?" Harold countered. His heart raced in rhythm with the unfolding mystery. Carefully, they approached the trunk together, lifting the lid slowly, disbelief washing over them as they peered inside. What they discovered would challenge their fears and reshape their reality. And as they revealed the contents within, the promise of adventure intertwined with shadows of danger, beckoning them deeper into the tangled web of tales that awaited them. What they discovered would challenge their fears and reshape their reality. As the lid creaked open, their breath hitched in their throats. Inside the trunk lay a patchwork of old leather-bound journals, their spines cracked and faded, interlaced with tarnished trinkets that glinted faintly in the dim light. Harold's fingers grazed over the items, feeling the weight of history steeped within each page and necklace. "What are these?" Jake whispered, a mix of apprehension and intrigue dancing in his voice. Harold lifted a journal, brushing dust from the cover to unveil the title, The Lost Tales of Willow Ridge. He glanced at Jake, an electric thrill sparking between them. This could be a treasure trove of stories right under the surface. Jake squinted at the trinkets. "Are you sure it's safe?" "This place feels off," he cautioned, nervously shifting his weight. "Safe or not, we didn't come this far to back down now," Harold replied, excitement thrumming in his veins. He opened the journal gingerly, turning yellowed pages filled with hurried script, the tales of old intermingling with illustrations of mythical creatures that felt alive. As he read, several words leaped out. The Keeper's Curse. He felt a shiver race down his spine. It detailed dark folklore surrounding the area. How every adventurer searching for treasure could inadvertently summon the Keeper, a vengeful spirit sworn to protect hidden secrets from intrusion. Frantically flipping the pages, Harold continued reading. Those who dare disturb the Keeper's rest will face their greatest fears and face judgment on treachery. He looked at Jake, heart hammering in his chest. This isn't just about finding treasure. It's a warning. We may have disturbed something we shouldn't have. Jake's eyes widened. "So, it is haunted? What do we do now?" Before Harold could respond, a low creak reverberated through the barn, shaking them from their thoughts. They exchanged startled glances, the journal momentarily forgotten as the oppressive atmosphere weighted down on them like a dark cloud. "Maybe we should leave?" Jake suggested, his voice small, tinged with dread. But the voice in Harold urged him to press on. "Here's the thing. If we leave now, we'll never know what laid before us. But if there is truth to the tales here, maybe we can figure out how to face the Keeper." "There's no way I'm confronting a ghost," Jake protested, sweat beading on his brow, but Harold could see the fire of curiosity flickering within him. "Right now, we have to know what we're up against. We can't allow fear to dictate our adventure." With a reluctant nod, they continued their exploration, cautiously examining the trunk's contents further. Harold uncovered a delicate silver pendant shaped like a key. It shimmered faintly, as if imbued with unseen energy. "What do you think this opens?" Jake leaned in closer, entranced. "Maybe a hidden door? Or a treasure chest somewhere?" A rustle from the far end of the barn made them both freeze. "Did you hear that?" Jake said, a quiver in his tone. "Yeah," Harold whispered, his heart racing. "We should check it out." They tiptoed toward the source of the sound, the floorboards creaking ominously beneath their feet. The atmosphere felt charged, as if they were encroaching upon sacred ground. With every step, Harold's grip tightened on the pendant, the thrilling possibility coursing through him mixed with the chills of dread. As they neared a shadowed corner, the dim light revealed a doorway partially hidden behind abandoned hay bales. Harold's breath quickened. Could this be what the pendant was meant to unlock? "Are you sure we should?" Jake whispered, uncertainty dancing in his eyes. "Together, Jake. Whatever it is, we go together," Harold insisted, steeling himself as he approached the hidden door. With trembling fingers, He touched the cool metal of the key-shaped pendant to the lock embedded in the frame. It fit perfectly, clicking as he turned it. The door swung open slowly, revealing a narrow passage that led downward. A dark staircase curved away into the abyss, swallowed by shadows. "What have we gotten ourselves into?" Jake murmured, a hint of fear mingling with intrigue. "I guess we'll find out," Harold replied, stepping into the darkness without looking back. It was a leap of faith, a plunge into whatever awaited them below. The simple thrill of adventure propelled him forward, but he resolved to face every challenge that came their way. They descended cautiously, the winding staircase constricting around them, so dark they relied on touch and sound. With every step, the air grew cooler, almost suffocating, a far cry from the sunlit road above. Upon reaching the bottom, they emerged into a dimly lit chamber filled with eerie silence. Strange markings adorned the walls, and unsettling shadows loomed. A large altar stood before them at the center, draped in an ancient cloth. "What is this place?" Jake whispered, glancing around nervously. "Some kind of shrine, perhaps." "The stories, maybe?" Harold suggested, moving closer to the altar, intrigue pushing aside the unease. Suddenly, from behind them, the door slammed shut with a deafening bang, ringing through the chilled air. Both men jumped, turning quickly only to find it sealed tight, cutting off their escape. "Great. Just great. How are we going to get back now?" Jake stammered, panic creeping into his voice. "Let's focus on what we can see," Harold said, forcing calm into his tone. He stepped toward the altar and pulled back the cloth. What lay beneath left him breathless. An ancient book lay open, its pages filled with more text that echoed the journal's warnings. But this was something more. Decrees, commands, perhaps even a ritual inviting the keeper forth. A chill wind rushed through the room, and an unsettling feeling crawled over Harold's skin. They had found something far deeper, and laying within those aged pages could be the very key to understanding the keeper's curse. As they delved further into the book, voices began to rise in a whispering crescendo, filling the air with an ominous chant. "Do you hear that?" Jake asked, panic rising in his voice again. "Yes," Harold gasped, as reality blurred. The words swirled around them, intertwining with shadows. "We may have just unleashed something we're not prepared for." With sudden clarity, he realized they were no longer just witnesses to a tale. They were part of it. The darkness pulsed, and a figure began to emerge from the shadows behind the altar. The chilling eyes of the keeper locked onto them, and all air seemed to freeze, crystallized in suspense as the unfolding story revealed its true face. "What have you disturbed?" the keeper's voice echoed, a haunting melody that resonated through the very bones of the earth, sending shivers down their spines. Harold knew that at that moment, there was no turning back. They were caught in the crosshairs of an ancient tale, and the lost secrets of Willow Ridge demanded a reckoning. An ancient tale, and the lost secrets of Willow Ridge demanded a reckoning. The light in the chamber flickered as if it were straining against the weight of an ages-old darkness. The keeper, a spectral figure cloaked in tattered remnants of a time long forgotten, loomed over Harold and Jake with an imposing presence. "What have you disturbed?" the keeper repeated, a shimmering gaze fixed on the pendant still grasped tightly in Harold's hand. Harold's breath caught in his throat, his heart hammering against his ribs. We didn't mean to intrude. We were just curious." His voice trembled, the calmness he had tried to muster completely evaporating in front of this ancient presence. "Curiosity is a dangerous companion," the keeper replied, a voice that seemed to weave through the chamber like an eerie wind, resonating with a certain ancient wisdom. "You tread upon grounds long deemed sacred, searching for treasures you were never meant to find. I know we've disturbed something you've protected," Harold urged, a flicker of courage igniting within him. "But perhaps we could work together? We've uncovered your stories, and we want to learn. We want to help." The keeper's ethereal form shimmered, swirling in colors that spoke of twilight hues, light playing off darkness, crafting an otherworldly tapestry. "Help is a fragile word, boy. What do you offer in exchange for knowledge of what lies beneath the earth? What price are you willing to pay? Jake's eyes darted around the chamber, the weight of the moment pressing down on him like a physical force. I don't like this, Harold. Maybe we should have just left. Harold turned to his friend, feeling the urgency of their situation. We can't back down now, Jake. There's so much at stake, not just for us but for everyone who comes here seeking something more. If we learn the truth, perhaps we can break this curse. The keeper nodded slowly, a faint smile appearing on their shadowy visage, a sentiment woven with bravery. Very well. If it is truth you seek, I shall grant you a chance. But be forewarned, your deepest fears will be laid bare to you. And, should you falter, the price will be high. Heavily, Harold nodded, feeling a swirl of dread and purpose within him. We accept. Show us. With a sweeping gesture of the keeper's hand, the chamber transformed. The walls melted away, revealing a labyrinth of memories and shadows, whispers trailing through the air like ghostly echoes. As they stumbled forward, both bewildered and captivated, the darkness coalesced into scenes that played out in vivid detail around them, reflecting fragments of their past. The first image emerged, depicting Harold as a young boy, standing in the backyard of his childhood home, a sense of wonder in his eyes as he watched the world swirl into life. Suddenly, schoolmates loomed in the scene, faces twisting and wrinkling into mockery as they laughed at him, a recollection that brought heat and shame flooding back. He felt the sting of that long-forgotten pain ripple through him. No, no, he gasped, stepping back, trying to escape the haunting memory. I've moved past this. The keeper's voice echoed omnipresently. Do not run from what you have been. Embrace it. Only then can you learn and grow. His heart raced, and Harold squared his shoulders, forcing himself to face the scene. I'm not defined by my past. With renewed determination, he looked up, the laughter growing fainter as he steeled himself against the memories. Jake's fears soon flooded his vision. A relentless tide of perceived failures, moments of insecurity, and self-doubt grappling for dominance. Harold reached for Jake's hand, a silent reminder that they were in this together. They shared their burdens. They pressed deeper into the labyrinth, images swirling around, reflecting burdens they each had carried. Gradually, as they faced fear after fear, light began to emanate from within them, an awakening that started to illuminate the hazy surroundings. Empowered by self-acceptance, they carried the glow like a torch, illuminating their path forward. Finally, they faced a shimmering door at the end of the corridor, its surface rippling like water, reflecting both their newfound strength and all they had learned from their haunted pasts. What lies beyond? They whispered in unison, hands entwined together as they stepped forward, buoyed by solidarity and understanding. As they pushed through, the keeper stood before them again, eyes sparkling with a gleam of pride amidst the shadows that danced. You have faced yourselves, brave hearts. You understand now that the greatest treasure lies within. The curse is broken not by the deeds of the brave, but by the courage to accept both light and shadow within. The stories of Willow Ridge are yours to bear. Suddenly, a blinding light enveloped the room, and when it dimmed, they found themselves back in the barn, standing amidst the remnants of the trunk, the air filled with bright warmth as if the sun had risen again. They exchanged glances, bewildered yet awash with a sense of completion. What in the world just happened? Jake breathed, disbelief coloring his tone. We faced the keeper, Harold said, wonder echoing in his voice. And we've unlocked understanding and acceptance. It's time we share these stories, Jake. This isn't just our adventure, it's a tale for everyone. As they gathered the journals and trinkets, the pendant glowing softly, they felt an air of connection resonating through them, a new purpose driving them forward. Together, they had conquered not just fear but had also stepped onto a path of discovery and redemption. With hearts emboldened by their journey, they stepped out of the barn, two storytellers now, ready to weave their tale from the threads of reality, mystery, and courage that had taken them far beyond the road less traveled. And so began the next chapter of their lives, writing their story, forever entwined with the magic of Willow Ridge.